Episode 2, The Whisper of Anomaly. Welcome back to the most unexpected saga of all, the new life of heroes' real world. In the last episode, we dove into the hilarious, and at times frustrating routines of our greatest heroes. We saw Superman battling his alarm clock, Captain America stranded on the roadside, Iron Man impatient in the supermarket line, Thor being ejected from a bar, and even Batman, the master of fear, agonizing over an invading bat in his own mansion. They're Earth's greatest defenders, but day to day, they're just like us. But, as you well remember, we left a crucial question hanging in the air. Why did these titans find themselves trapped in such ordinary lives? Was it a choice? A necessity? Or was something more sinister pulling them into this cage of routine? That was the first clue to a subtle mystery. An anomaly that began to manifest in the very fabric of their seemingly mundane lives. Many of you left incredible theories in the comments about what would happen next. We want to see many more. So, if you enjoyed the first episode and are eager to unravel this mystery, leave your like, share with your friends, and comment on what you think is behind it all. Your participation shapes the future of our saga. The hum, once a mere glitch in Thor's radio transmission, began to intensify. It wasn't just static, it was an ethereal whisper, a sound that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. Thor, who in Asgard unraveled cosmic mysteries with Gungnir's gleam, now spent his nights in the garage, with makeshift headphones, trying to tune into the exact frequency of that ghostly noise. He suspected it wasn't a technical issue, but something ancient. A chilling sensation, a shiver down his spine he hadn't felt since the Nine Realms, seemed to accompany him, even in the stuffy suburban heat. He tried to talk to Jane about it, but she just smiled, attributing it to homesickness or the craft beer from Valhalla's mead. But he knew, deep in his divine being, that something was approaching. Meanwhile, Tony Stark's genius couldn't be contained by a simple supermarket queue. His power outages, once mere annoyances, began to follow a pattern. The lights in his mansion didn't flicker randomly, they flickered in a rhythmic sequence, almost like a distorted Morse code. His security systems, once impenetrable, now showed brief lapses, as if an invisible interference was testing his defenses. Tony began sleeping less, hunched over complex diagrams, with holographic screens floating around him, trying to decipher the origin of those anomalous electromagnetic pulses. He ruled out the idea of a common cyber attack. This was something more primitive, more elemental. And what puzzled him most was that the energy seemed to be feeding on his own technology, absorbing small amounts of data and energy without leaving a trace. He didn't mention anything to Pepper, not yet. She'd think he was paranoid, and he had no concrete proof. Just the intuition of a genius who sensed the approach of something extraordinary. Even Superman's unwavering calm began to be tested. It wasn't villains attacking, but reality itself seemed distorted. The Daily Planet reports he read seemed to have small errors, transposed letters, slightly different dates. Nothing anyone else would notice, except someone with supervision and supermemory. His superhearing picked up whispers from distant cities, but these whispers were getting louder, more incoherent, as if voices from different dimensions were merging. He attributed it to work stress, lack of sleep due to the lost wedding ring, but a part of him knew it was more than that. A subtle mist, almost imperceptible, seemed to envelop the suburb in recent weeks, and he could have sworn the days were grayer, and the stars at night, less bright. It was a feeling of disconnection, as if the veil between worlds was thinning. What none of them knew was that these isolated incidents were, in fact, the first tendrils of a cosmic entity, a being that viewed the universe as a mere chessboard and existence itself as a form of energy to be consumed. It wasn't a villain with plans of domination. It was something far older, far vaster, and operating on a scale that defied comprehension itself. This entity fed on balance, on the flow of life, and what it detected on Earth. The superpowered life, the vibrational noise of the heroes, was an imbalance that needed to be corrected. Its arrival was not an attack, but a cleansing, a restructuring of reality to fit its own primordial order. The small events were becoming larger. An inexplicable blackout hit only Tony Stark Street, leaving his lab without power for crucial minutes. At Captain America's house, the old crystal radio he kept as a relic began to crackle with voices in a strange, archaic language that he felt he had heard somewhere before, perhaps in his cryogenic sleep dreams. And Batman's bat? It didn't leave. It reappeared, and this time, its eyes had an unsettling reddish glow, and it observed Bruce with an intelligence that was anything but animal. Routine was being eroded at the edges. The whispers were getting louder. The mist was thickening. These incidents, once trivial annoyances, now seemed like signs, pieces of a cosmic puzzle that was beginning to assemble itself, but for which none of them had the complete picture. Something was manipulating reality, draining energy, and, perhaps, weakening their own powers without them even realizing it. Suburban life, which once seemed like a safe retreat, was beginning to reveal itself as a trap, a testing ground for a force that not even the gods knew in its entirety. The enemy had no face, but its presence was already felt, weaving an invisible web around the heroes, transforming their peaceful paradise into a slow-motion nightmare. This is the end of our second episode. The great threat has begun to reveal itself subtly, but ever more present. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think this mysterious entity is? What is its goal? And how will our heroes, trapped in their mundane routines, react when danger knocks on the door of their suburban homes? Leave your theories in the comments and get ready for the next chapter of this saga. Remember, here you decide.